Hi, my name is Bev Johnson Bender. For those of you that don't know me, I work as a body worker. I've done that for over 2 decades, and I work in the pre and perinatal field and the field of family and ancestral healing. So today I want to talk to you about a couple of different things. I'm going to give you two different examples of imprinting. So the first example I want to give you of imprinting, and these are unconscious imprints that lie deep in our psyche. And so the first example I want to give you is an example of how a child might take an idea and internalize that. And so then that idea, when it has never been addressed, just stays in the psyche and actually becomes a belief system, and it actually becomes part of how the person proceeds in their life. So I'll give you one small example of that. Was with permission, I'm telling this story of a woman that had a little boy. He was about 5, and every morning she would say to him, "Come on, hurry up, get ready, I gotta go to work. And if I'm late, I'll get fired." And one day the little boy said to her, "Mom, what happens when you get fired? Do they light you on fire?" Yeah, so this little guy had been holding this fear. First of all, he's holding fear that something might happen to his mom, something catastrophic. And if that were to happen, what would happen to him? He can't live without his mom. Secondly, he's actually feeling quite responsible for this potential catastrophe. So that's a lot for this little guy to hold in his body, in his brain. His brain doesn't even know how to take that in and organize it, like how to process it into the frontal lobe where it can be made sense of. So fortunately, in this case, this little guy was able to actually formulate a question and get some accurate reflection from his mom, who, by the way, felt very bad about making her son feel this way. But in this part of life, it's like an impossible situation because we're just always living our life, taking care of our responsibilities, and we're not always really conscious of just some of the quotes we use, some of the expressions we use. They too are oftentimes, they've been in our family and in society for so long that we just say them without thinking, and we don't realize how that might actually impact a child who doesn't have any context for those kind of messages. So what might happen though if that little guy hadn't got that question formulated, and if he didn't get that accurate reflection from his mom? Well, he might have held that deep in his psyche, and he might have always had this feeling of if I'm not on time, something catastrophic might happen. If somebody else isn't on time, something catastrophic might happen. I know I have clients who get really, really upset if they think they're going to be late. I know I have clients that think that if they're not 10 or 15 minutes early, that they are late. So, who knows where that got put into their psyche, but it might have been something like that, just something really simple. There could be all kinds of reasons for that kind of behavior. We don't know, but these are just some examples, some hypothetical examples of what could happen in a person's life, or why we might hold something deep in our psyche. So that's an example of how a child might take an idea, and if they've never had a chance to break it down and take it apart, how it could actually turn into perhaps a little bit of a phobia. when they get older. And so the next example I want to talk to you about is, what about an unconscious imprint that might come from our family and ancestral line? So this is something that was in our energetic field before we were even born. So I'm just going to give another hypothetical example. Let's say, for example, a man and a woman are married and they have 2 or 3 children. One of them steps out of the marriage and has a child with somebody else out of wedlock. So now we have what could be a very complicated dynamic. So first of all, there is going to be one or a number of other children that are going to have to be left behind. This parent has to make a choice which family they're going to live with. So there's a dynamic. So whoever gets excluded or left behind is going to have some emotions around that. Or whoever gets accepted might also have some emotions around this child that is their brother or sister. And so they might feel angry about that child. They might have a lot of empathy and compassion for that child, maybe even for the child's mother. It's hard to say. But these are the kind of things that will live in the energetic, metamorphic field that we all live in. Let's say the next generation comes along, so those children have children. One of those children might actually feel identified with the children that were excluded. So how might that show up in their life? Maybe they won't let themselves have children. Maybe they'll give a child up for adoption. Maybe them or their partner will have an abortion or a miscarriage. Might be something like that, because they're saying to the person that got excluded, I will carry this pain with you. I won't let you carry it alone. And this is all unconscious. They don't realize what they're doing for this family member, but love is the strongest emotion of all, and it's the one that we unconsciously act from the most and in the deepest of ways. So there are a couple examples of how imprinting can affect us in our adult lives and the way we move through the world and the way we interact with other people. So I'm hoping that this gets you curious to perhaps look at some of the things that have happened in your family, or maybe even to people you know, because it also helps us to have a little bit of empathy when we can see the possibilities of where pain may live in people. So if this interests you at all, you can reach out to me here or at rhythmicwaveshealing.ca, and we can do some work together. So I hope you have a great day. Bye.